Good morning. So, there we go. Starting a couple minutes early today. Just gotta get some stuff done before I head off to Tri-Cities to go hang out with some of my favorite peoples. Now, this is a really great section of text, guys. Numbers chapter 9, verses 15 to 23. There's some beautiful applications for us there. And so, starting in verse 15. Now on the day that the tabernacle was raised up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, the tent of testimony. From evening until morning, it was above the tabernacle like the appearance of fire. And so it was, the cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. Whenever the cloud was taken up from above the tabernacle, after the children of Israel would journey in the place where the cloud settled, there the children of Israel would pitch their tents. And at the command of the Lord, the children of Israel would journey, and at the command of the Lord, they would camp. As long as the cloud stayed above the tabernacle, they remained encamped. Even when the cloud continued long, many days above the tabernacle, the children of Israel kept the charge of the Lord and did not journey. Verse 20, so it was when the cloud was above the tabernacle a few days, according to the command of the Lord, they remained encamped for the few days. And so it was, verse 21, when the cloud remained only from evening until morning. When the cloud was taken up in the morning, they would journey, whether by day or by night. Whenever the cloud was taken up, they would journey. Whether it was 2 days, so verse 22, whether it was 2 days, a month, or a year, that the cloud remained above the tabernacle, the children of Israel would remain encamped and not journey. But when it was taken up, they would journey. And at the command of the Lord, they remained encamped. And at the command of the Lord, they journeyed. They kept the charge of the Lord and the command of the Lord by the hand of Moises. So, just two applications, guys. I mean, I guess the explanation, I think it makes good sense, though, right? That there was this appearance of God, that by day it appeared as a cloud, and by night it appeared as fire. And in short, whenever it moved, they moved. And as long as it stayed, they stayed. Pretty straightforward. But two beautiful applications. Firstly is this. This is one I got from John Corson years ago. But I just remember the point that in the daytime, in the desert, and I've gotten to trek around the Arabian desert, where all of this took place. It's hot during the day. And actually, it's pretty chilly at night. And that's the way the desert works. Hot in the day and cold at night. Yet during the day, God appeared as a cloud. And so if you stay close, you'll be able to experience the shade from that cloud. And so by staying near the Lord, you can be comforted from the sun's hot rays. Secondly, then, during the night, it was fire. So once again, if you stayed near the Lord during the nighttime, the fire would keep you warm. And so in all of this, there was this, the way that God manifested himself would comfort them both day and night, that if they would stay close to him, they would experience his comfort and his protection from all of the weather that the world was throwing their direction. Secondly, though, is this. It said in verse 22, whether it was 2 days, a month, or a year, they were ready to either camp and hold camp or go at a moment's notice. Now, when they were ready to pack up camp, in fact, this is where I got out of order. Remember how I said that I had every day I have to go in, and sometimes I have to type up, okay, today we're doing, chapter 9, part 2, and I have to type that in as we start our live stream. And I messed up, and I started teaching chapter 10. So tomorrow will actually be chapter 10 starting in verse 11, because we already did verses 1 to 10. But in verses 1 to 10, it talks about the trumpets, right? Make silver trumpets. That's the next thing here, explaining in chapter 10, just going back. And it talks about that there's the blowing of the trumpets, and that lets people know when to gather, when to this and when to that. And as the cloud moved, they blow the trumpets to let people know it's time to take off. Where is it? Sounding the advance, right? When it's time to advance the camps, you sound the advance, and then they have the different blows that go on here. And so, in a sense, even if they weren't watching the cloud, they would hear the trumpet blow. A while ago, someone asked me, what does it mean to be rapture ready? And this is a friend who's not really in favor of the rapture. And then there's lots of people with different views. And we were just discussing, though, because some people, I think he felt like, were kind of like making this big thing about being rapture ready and really like kind of playing into what that would be and making it this big thing. And so he said, well, you, Joe, believe in the rapture of the church, that would take place before the tribulation. What does it mean to be rapture ready? And I'm thinking, well, it's not this long, like, I don't think it needs to be complicated, right? And I think that's what his issue is some people make it sound like there's these like specific steps, and those who are rapture ready and those who aren't rapture ready. I said, well, it's real simple here. And we see it here in these verses we just read. The people were ready and prepared to stay camped for years, or they were also ready to be gone in a moment's notice. That's rapture ready. That's spirit-led, truly, too. That we should be living in such a way that if the Lord tarries for years, our boats are pointed in the right direction. We're on course to be able to continue walking out our Christian faith. I have plans for my children, if the Lord tarries, for them to grow up. Honestly, if I thought we'd be gone tomorrow, I'd probably worry a little less about discipline and just go and have fun. But no, to truly be rapture ready, I need to be ready for the rapture to happen in a decade. And so I actually have to live my life ready for staying a long time. But on the other side of that, I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to leave things that are important undone because I thought I had all the time in the world to get to them. And so, again, these people were ready to camp for years, and they were ready to leave at a moment's notice. That's rapture ready, where we aren't living with regrets, but at the same time, we're not being foolish like the Thessalonians. It seems like what happened with them, and Paul had to write to them and talk about the rapture even because of the fact that these people were acting like, well, we're going to be out here at any moment, so let's just quit our jobs. And so are you rapture ready? Right? That's the idea. Are you living in such a way that, yes, if the Lord tarries, you're going to hold course and you're pointing in the right direction. But on the other side of that coin, if the Lord came tomorrow, would you feel like you had things left undone? Were there people you would have talked to? Were there things that you would have gotten right in your life? What if the Lord comes in 2 months? Would you have changed the way you're living because you didn't want to be living that way when the Lord returned? Well, get rapture ready. Fix those things and do what you can today so that you can leave this earth with no regrets. There you go. All right, so we'll really be in chapter 10 tomorrow. We'll start in verse 11, the departure from Sinai. Yeah, and we'll take it on from there. So God bless you guys. Have an amazing day, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.